welcome back to my channel. My name is Fatima, and today is going to be a little bit different of an episode. And I know that I touched base a little bit in my last video that I'm a Full Sail student and I'm a film student, and so touching base on that, there's someone that we are remembering today at Full Sail University, who was an alumni and then a Hall of Famer as well. And his name was DeVolld, and he was a writer and specifically a reality TV producer. And so he did shows like The Osbournes and Basketball Wives and The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, that whole franchise, Dancing with the Stars as well, and many other shows that I'm sure your family and friends have heard of and watched. And just an extremely talented person, and also, you know, had just such a caring and kind and encouraging spirit about him. And so he has recently passed away, and today in our Full Sail Live building, which is where we have a lot of events and things like that, they had a celebration of life for Troy, and I really like that title. I think that really suits him and who he was really well, and I'm glad that that's become, you know, a new way to look at the people that we've lost in our lives, is to be able to sit around and remember them and tell stories about them, and that's what they did today. And they had a really, really beautiful ceremony. There was a whole bunch of circular tables, and I love that really symbolized being able to talk with other professors, alumni, students about, you know, how you met Troy and the impact he had on you, whether it was for a short amount of time or you worked with him for many years. You know, I thought that was really special, and they had slideshows of pictures and pictures of people that he had worked with, and faculty and people who were former alumni and Hall of Famers. And so at Full Sail, what it means to be a Hall of Famer is Gary, who is our fantastic president, essentially there's a certain amount of like criteria you have to have where you get inducted into the Full Sail Hall of Fame. And so, you know, once they graduate, 3 requirements are that they have to have, you know, worked out in that career path, whatever it may be. It doesn't have to be just film, because we have game arts, 3D art, game development, you know, television, and just every degree program, you know, that you can think of. There's so many other different degree programs outside of just film, you know, at Full Sail. And so you have to essentially be working in that degree or in that field for, you know, 10 years or more. And then you also have to be able to come back and share your time and knowledge to students at Hall of Fame, which are there on campus, online. They'll have hybrid events as well, where they'll have panels of alumni and people to speak about, you know, the business side of your degree program and what happens after you hit that first wave of success, and how do you handle it, and how do you manage it, how do you look for that next project, how do you continue to network and market yourself, and also continue to evolve as an artist. You know, mental health. Some panels we have are about mental health, and how do you make sure you don't, you know, create a career and start having burnout at a certain point, and taking care of your mind and your body and your wellness. And also there's a lot of really wonderful women empowerment panels that we'll have, and we'll see a lot of female producers and writers and editors and, you know, 3D art creators all in one panel, and it's extremely inspiring. And so you have to be, to kind of fit into that, you know, that placement there, you have to be in your career path for, you know, 10 years or more, having done your craft, and I've been doing this for a while, been able to ride the ups and downs of it, been able to gain insight, being able to grow as an artist, and really learn a lot about yourself. and then also want to be able to give back to the Full Sail community. And so those are kind of essentially, the main two things that happen once they kind of decide who's going to enter the Hall of Fame that next year. So there's about 5 people that end up getting inducted into the Hall of Fame every year. And so it happens once a year, and it's like such an exciting event where people, and like us as students get so excited to meet these Hall of Famers that we've watched videos about, that we've studied about, or, we kind of think about those questions of what we're going to ask them at those panels, or if we get a chance to meet them, of how did they get to where they are today? What advice do you have for me? And so he was one of those people that just, like many of them, just enjoyed so much giving back to other students. And that just showed so much with him. And essentially today I heard many stories. A lot of people went around and we're sitting there at the round tables and just kind of carried the mic around and told stories, and some people got really emotional, and it was difficult for them, and everybody had like one little thing that they either were wearing, on him, because he was very much known for wearing very stylish, very bold, either blazers or jackets or outfits. That was kind of what he was known for. And I remember that when I met him as well. That's just what he did. And I actually found out today that he got those blazers actually customized, and I did not know that. So that was really interesting. And so a very bold person in that way, that, whenever he walked in a room, you knew he was there. But also his personality and his kindness also followed with that as well. And it just led people to be, just so attracted to his energy and how genuine of a soul he was. It was a really, really beautiful event. And me and one of my close friends went to that today, and I think we might have been the only students there. There was other alumni, and everybody's a student, at some point anyway. But it was really wonderful to be there and hear many stories of people and how they were impacted by him. And I only met him for a very short amount of time, so I actually met him during my first Hall of Fame last year, and I received an email to have a one-on-one meeting with the Hall of Famer, and it was him. And this was just a wonderful opportunity that I wasn't expecting. I didn't know that they did that at all. And, they were like, please respond back in a certain amount of time, and I was like, oh, absolutely, I'd be honored. And I hadn't heard of him yet as a Hall of Famer because there's so many. And I looked up, his work, and television is something that, I'm always going to keep in mind to going into. And so I had heard some of the shows that he had talked about. My family and I watched Dancing with the Stars as I kind of grew up, and it's still on now, and it's still a very current, popular show that people really enjoy, and so that's really interesting that he definitely had a big part in producing that, and to know somebody like that is really interesting. And so essentially, what the opportunity was that you got to, a lot of students, I guess, met these Hall of Famers there in our library, like study rooms, and you got to sit down and they said you could bring a current project you had worked on and ask them about feedback and any advice you had, and just kind of get to meet them one-on-one. And it was only for about 45 minutes. It was a very short amount of time. It kind of flew by. And I had a previous project, and I had him take a look at it, and he'd gave me good feedback on it and certain things to improve on. And so otherwise than that, he just was like very, very supportive and very present with me in the moment. When that's such a busy week and there's so much going on, and I'm sure he's met with other students, he definitely just makes you feel like he's talking to you and, nothing else is kind of going on, because I'm sure it's tough to do that when you have a life that's just so busy, to not also be like in another place. And just in that amount of time, I could just tell how genuine and kind and supportive he was. And I appreciated him just being honest and saying, I asked him what areas in this video could I, improve on. And we talked about that, and he made some good points. And so, again, even though I met him for a short amount of time, towards the end of that session, I said, could I get a picture with you? And I had kind of been doing that throughout Hall of Fame. And I'm so glad I did. I didn't know that, because this was in May of this year, 2024, and he just passed away in August, August 14th, so about a little over a month ago. So this is very recent, and one of my, we were having a National Honor Society meeting, and my advisor had told me about it, so I hadn't heard about it until she told me, and so just going to the event today was really wonderful. And I learned later on that he would hand out like these words of encouragement, these notes from him that were just, didn't have like anybody's names, and were just kind of, piece of advice or words of encouragement that he would kind of hide around like our Full Sail campus for students to find. And I didn't hear about that during Hall of Fame or anything. And I kind of learned this essentially after he had passed away. I had heard that this was something that he did, and I met someone today and they said, yeah, he kind of started doing that the last few years. And I think that's just such a reflection of who he was to bring positivity and light and hope to people. And I'm very similar in that way. I think that's so much more important and more needed than ever trying to judge people or be negative and not knowing what people are going through. Kind of get to know people before you make such a quick judgment about people, and know that you're at a school, that you're creating art. Everybody's an artist, and everybody's at all different levels. And everybody's at all different levels of life as well, too. And, it's so important. And I love supporting other people. So it's interesting that just also, as this channel goes, on, I do more videos, you'll start to see my personality more. And I feel like another similarity was his sense of humor, and the fun that he had with fashion and style. Because I like to do that, like, within, like, my earrings sometimes. I like to kind of, like, do things that are, really fun if I'm going to a certain event or a movie or something like that, where I'm dressing for the occasion. And, why not have fun with fashion? I think more people should definitely do that. And he was someone who, like someone said today, which was, a great way to phrase it, was he was very unapologetically like himself. And he was. And you remember people like that in life because they're like, this is who I am, and I'm not looking to fit in. And I think when he was younger, he didn't as much, as I'm kind of watching interviews. And if you look back at his grad story, whether you're a Full Sail student or not, if you go on the Full Sail website, you'll see it's on YouTube, and it's a wonderfully crafted, very short video, and actually does. It talks about his earlier years and knowing that he just was very much an old soul, and was also somebody who was very interested in kind of an older generation time period of television, and it didn't really connect to the kids that he was playing on the playground. So he kind of knew he had different interests and things like that, and loved drawing, and I think thought he was going to go into being like a comic book artist, and that's kind of where it started out. And then he went into becoming interested in writing. And then he went to, he's originally from Zanesville, Ohio. And then he moved out to LA, and he knew that's where he needed to be. And he was going to he was going to go to be a screenwriter for television. That's what he thought he wanted to do, or more so probably for film. And it involved, it essentially kind of transpired that he got into reality television and did that for a short amount of time. And then that's kind of what he ended up doing when he kind of thought he would write for a film. So it's interesting how people get on that path that you kind of can't predict is going to happen. But it's just been really wonderful, just to be in that room and to hear everybody's stories. It's definitely given me a lot to think about, because he just, from the stories and everything that I've heard, it just seems like, although I met him only once and for a very short amount of time, there was new things that I learned about him today. And he just seemed like he left such a genuine impact on people, because he was everybody's teacher and mentor in a way by just being himself and showing up for people. And, he even allowed students to sleep there on the couch. That was apparently a well-known thing because they were out there trying to make it. And our president said that he had bought a student a bike because he had got a job, but he wasn't able to get to and from, and he bought him a bike so he could do that and make it happen. So, he absolutely was a big supporter and loved the community at Full Sail and went above and beyond. And today I found out that he apparently was going to actually start as a professor here at Full Sail in the career development department, and I did not know that until today. So that makes it another layer of sadness that was going to be like another kind of new chapter in his life, because I think a lot of things were getting very uneven with, I think, where his career was at, and I think there were also some health concerns and things like that. So I think towards the end he started going through some difficult times, but I think essentially it was very unexpected. A lot of the faculty was talking about how it was very, they were very shocked by it, and it just was, something that was still really uplifting to be there. And, we saw his mom get up and talk towards the end, and she talked about how he was kind of like a challenge as a kid, and just a very unique, child growing up, and didn't really love sports or anything. His dad tried to get him to sports. He didn't really want to do that. And he just kind of always was interested in looking up to people in television that really inspired him, and wanting to work with them one day. And he says in a few interviews, as I kind of been watching them today, that there were so many people that he looked up to that he had a chance to meet. And that's really amazing. And so I think essentially from, this video, I want people to think about, who are the people in your life that really inspire you not to just keep going when times are tough, but inspire you to dream bigger, to remind you of how unique you are, and that they remind you to always spread positivity and kindness to others, because you don't know who needs it, and it's one of the most powerful things that you can give somebody. Could simply be words of encouragement from someone you don't know, by surprise. It could be holding the door for somebody. It could be, buying someone you care about flowers. It could be talking to a friend on the phone who you haven't talked to in a while, and go, hey, I miss you. I've gotten really busy. I haven't caught up with you. I want to know how you're doing. And, being able to not lose sight of we can get so caught up in everything we're doing in life and become very selfish very quickly because we're trying to, create our careers as we're, new filmmakers, on this journey. But to be aware of the people who mean the most to you and know where you're at in your life, you probably have left an impact on a lot of people. And with knowing that, or even without knowing how many people you have already impacted, know you have so much more people that you should want to impact, but always choose to be yourself, because that's what he did. He impacted people by being himself and being kind and being generous when he didn't have to be. But that's how much he wanted to see students strive and succeed and get from, one point to another point to finally get those, dreams to launch. If he could be any small part of that, I think he would do that. And he showed that by coming back to every Hall of Fame and impacting people just the way that the short amount of time I was there with him, that he impacted me. We didn't have an in-depth conversation. I would not have learned all about his personality and how big of an impact he had on everybody at the university and beyond that. But I learned that and soaked that up today in this event. And what was interesting that I didn't know, there were a lot of different pieces and things like that, and of things that I learned about Troy today. But his mom was the last one who got up there and spoke, and she told us that today is actually Troy's birthday. And I did not know that. I didn't know how many people in the audience knew that. I was really surprised by that, and I thought, wow, how beautiful that is, that we're all here and we're all gathered. And she said, since it's his birthday, I would love for all of us to sing happy birthday. And so we all sang happy birthday, and it was a really wonderful moment. And so that's really special, that today, and the event being titled A Celebration of Troy DeVolld, and it being on his birthday of November 17th, and today he would have been 54 years old, and he is, it gives me a lot to reflect on, and I feel very honored that I got to meet him for a fraction of the time that he was here on Earth. And I think he gave a lot of gifts to television with his talents and with his own personality and his heart, and people who knew him and who became close colleagues and friends of his. I feel that he probably gave the world a bigger gift by just him being uniquely himself. And that, I think, will leave a legacy of people will always remember him. And if they don't, they'll know of him, and they'll want to definitely learn more about him and go back and watch his Full Sail Hall of Fame speech and watch videos, and they will always be able to have the internet and his books that he has written and that have been very successful about screenwriting and about his time in the business and what you can learn and how you can always improve yourself as a way to connect with him, even if they didn't get a chance to meet him, to still learn from him. And I think that makes him someone who is a role model that lives on forever, a teacher that lives on forever, that everybody can continue to look up to and aspire to be somebody like that. And I think we'll all try to be somebody who's as incredible as him and everything he's accomplished, and and what he has meant to people, and the little things that he did. They left a big impact of why those little things are important, like leaving words of encouragement and having such a fun sense of style, and that was something that probably people looked forward to. It's like, I wonder what, blazer he's going to wear at this Hall of Fame, or I can't wait to see what outfit he's going to wear. I'm sure it became something that was very fun for people to look forward to, but probably more so of just, he was such a close and beloved friend to people that that's something a lot of people are gonna miss, not having that. And I think his spirit will kind of always just be around Full Sail. I think he loved, the school so much and everything it gave to him, and he gave that and so much more back to it, and today was such a testament of that. And I was just really, really, really glad that I was able to be there and to witness it, and to continue to, think of him as I moved forward on my Full Sail journey of, I think today made me think we won't ever, maybe be able to accomplish everything he did, and on top of that be such an incredibly genuine, wonderful, amazing person as he was from all the stories I heard. But we'll try our best to try and attain that amount of genuineness and greatness and creativeness and self-expression that he had, because he would want us to do that. And I think he was, the epitome of the example of stay true to yourself. Be yourself. Express yourself how you want to. That's what sets you apart from other people, is, those small things that you do and the fact that you're consistent in those things. That's what people trust in you, is the wonderful things that you bring to people's lives. And not everybody might see it, but he was someone that I think you would be, oblivious if you could not see how pure and genuine and encouraging his spirit and his soul was. And I think it reminds us all to continue to want to stand out and figure out a way that we can do that by still being ourselves, instead of ever feeling like we need to blend in and make our own choices and go after our dreams and never give up, and know that, if you don't believe in yourself, I think Troy would want all of us to know that, he believes in you, and he knows that you will do great things. And while you're at it, have fun expressing yourself. And any way that is, maybe that's in your style, maybe that's in your sense of humor, maybe that's in your unique talents, whatever it may be. I think, we are all unique in our own way. But for him, it definitely showed up in his sense of style. It showed up in how constant he was to reach out to others and friends and colleagues and catch up with them and support them on everybody's little wins. He was such a supporter of other people, not just students, of being so excited the first time someone got a gig, of congratulations, and that's fantastic. And from today's stories, that was some of the examples I heard, is that there was one person at the table in front of me that was getting emotional because he was talking about how much he was an actor and a comedian, and he was kind of up and coming. And he had met Troy, and Troy very much believed in him and what his potential could be, and that he would do great things. And he said, he started off his speech saying, I'm not great at keeping in contact with people, I'm not great at that, I'll forget sometimes. And he goes, but Troy always kept up with me. Troy always contacted me and always was so excited for all my little wins. And he got really emotional because he felt very seen when he saw Troy, And I think a lot of people he was around, he didn't feel that way, but Troy made him feel seen. And he made him feel like when he was talking to you, that was like, you know, you were the only person he was talking to. And everybody's stories that they had, we had some people wearing like sequence jackets and different things like that. They actually had 4 jackets on these mannequins of blazers that he had worn. And I'll show some pictures here following this video of just the very few pictures I took today. And so one of the interesting things is the words of encouragement that he had. When you went in, they actually had a box and you took one. And there were like notes. And then I opened it up and I read it. And I thought like, maybe this is the words of encouragement they were talking about. And that's what they did. It was a letter from him. And it was in an envelope. It just said you. And I have it hung up there on the wall, and I want to frame it eventually. And so it was a piece of advice, and it was from him from the 10th year that they had the Hall of Fame. And that's a really special, firstly, just the note is special in itself, that I remember hearing about that later on after he passed away, but the fact that now I have one and that it's something that I will keep with me as a memory of him and his spirit and his energy and everything he brought to Full Sail, that I have something that is signed by him and written by him, is extremely special to me. And so he had wrote it in the 10th year of the Hall of Fame. What was unique about and special about the 10th year of Hall of Fame is that's when they found the Dream Machine. And the Dream Machine is essentially a bust of where it all started, because Gary, our president, is from Ohio. Troy is originally from Ohio. And we somehow do have a lot of people that are professors there that actually are from Ohio. And so that's a really interesting, like, common kind of hometown place that a lot of people are from. And my heart goes out to the family and his mom and dad and sister and loved ones that were so close to him, and all the colleagues and our faculty that have lost him and are rewinding all the memories that they have with him. And I'm sure it's been a tough kind of few months for people to grasp this. We've all been through loss, and it's never easy, and everybody grieves in a different way. Read comments below of who, is your biggest inspiration to you, of why you chose to have a passion for film or television. Whether you're a writer, whether you want to produce, whether you want to direct. I really would love to hear, who is someone that has impacted you. And we'll see you next time.